Hello interstellar everyone, welcome to class 12 biology. Before we start with our video tutorials, let us discuss a little bit about what are the changes that are made in your biology syllabus. You must have heard from your class teacher, you must have heard from news media that CBSE has decided to reduce about 30% of your syllabus for this particular academic year. Due to coronavirus, due to this particular pandemic situation, we have missed a significant portion of our academic year. So because of that, the CBSE has made that particular decision. Uh, in this case, let us discuss about what are the changes made in your biology syllabus, right? So if you compare the syllabus of previous year with your syllabus, it seems as if nothing much has changed. There will be same 5 units, right? And same 70 marks question paper will be there. And if you look at the mark distribution, it almost looks the same. But remember, when I said 30% of your syllabus have been reduced, it means from your biology syllabus about 5 chapters have been removed, right? So 5 chapters have been omitted. I have given the list of chapters over here, and if I break it down where all these changes have happened, if we go unit by unit. So if you look at unit number 6, that is reproduction, earlier there were 4 chapters, right? Earlier there were 4 chapters in unit reproduction. Now there's only 3 chapters, right? There will be only 3 chapters. 1 chapter have been removed. That chapter is chapter number 1, reproduction in organisms, right? But the marks allocated for that particular unit remains the same. And if you look at unit number 7, that is genetics and evolution, earlier there were 3 chapters. Now there will be only 2 chapters. 1 chapter has been removed. That chapter is chapter number 7, evolution. So evolution chapter has been removed. Again, the marks allocated for that particular unit, it will remain the same, 18 marks. Okay. And if you look at unit 8, that is biology in human welfare, earlier there were 3 chapters. Now there will be only 2 chapters. 1 chapter has been removed. That is chapter number 9, strategies for enhancement in food production. Marks allocation also remains the same, 14 marks. If you look at unit 9, that is biotechnology, right? So in the biotechnology unit, nothing has changed. Same 2 chapters will be there, but the marks allocated has changed a little bit. 2 extra marks have been added for that particular unit. Okay. And if you look at unit number 10, that is ecology, right? Unit ecology, earlier there were 4 chapters. Now there will be only 2 chapters. So 2 chapters have been removed from unit ecology, and those 2 chapters are chapter 14 and chapter number 16, ecosystem and environmental issues. So those 2 chapters have been removed from your unit 10, and because of that, 2 marks have been reduced from that particular unit, and that marks have been added to unit 9, to biotechnology. Now 5 chapters have been removed from your syllabus. That's the good news. That means you have to study less number of chapters for this particular year. Right. Now the caveat over here is that you have to study those remaining chapters in complete detail. You shouldn't miss out any information given on those particular chapters in your textbook. You should read those chapters sentence by sentence without missing even a word. Why I'm saying that is because if you think from the perspective of the examiner, the person who sets question papers for you, right? If you think from the perspective of the examiner, earlier the examiner had 16 chapters to set about 20 something questions in your question paper. Now the examiner has to set same number of question papers from only 11 chapters. That presents a tricky situation for him or her, right? Now what examiner has to do is he has to set more questions from less number of chapters. Now what he or she may do is he or she may go through those remaining chapters and try to find out information on which he can ask questions. He or she can ask questions, and those informations we might have missed, right, thinking that they are not significant, right? So that will put you in a difficult situation. In order to escape from that particular situation, what you should do is you should read the remaining 11 chapters in complete detail. You shouldn't miss out even a sentence or even a word that I said, right? If you go through a chapter, if a certain sentence or certain word doesn't make any sense, you should ask your teachers, right? So that is my tip regarding this particular situation where the syllabus have been changed a little bit. You have 5 chapters are removed, right? Only 11 chapters are there. the tip is you have to study those 11 chapters in complete detail. Okay, that is the thing. And regarding your practicals, the same 30 marks will be there, right? One major experiment, one minor experiment, one slide preparation, spottings will be there, practical records you have to keep, you have to appear for viva voce, and you have to do a project, biology project, and all those things will carry marks, and total there will be 30 marks. Okay, so that will remain the same in practical syllabus as well. Certain portions from your certain experiments have been removed, certain spottings have been removed, right? So that you will know later on when you attend regular classes. Okay, or you can go through the revised syllabus sheet that CBSE has released on their website. Okay, so that is about the syllabus change. Alright, so with this video we are going to start a new unit from your biology textbook, that is unit number 8, Biology and Human Welfare. So this unit contains 2 chapters, chapter number 8, Human Health and Diseases, and chapter number 10, Microbes in Human Welfare. So from this unit, in your revised syllabus, chapter number 9 has been removed by the CBSE, so you don't have to study that. Okay, so let's start with chapter number 8, that is Human Health and Disease. In this particular chapter, we will be discussing about various human diseases. We will talk about some common human diseases, and we will talk about what causes those diseases, the organisms which are responsible for those diseases, and then we will talk about their signs and symptoms, their mode of infection, and how to control those diseases. And later on, we will discuss about the basic concepts of immunology, right? What is immune system? What are the parts of immune system, and how our immune system protects us from various kinds of infections. In that particular regard, we will also discuss about vaccinations or immunizations, right? How immunization or how vaccination work. And then we will talk about cancer, HIV and AIDS. And in the end part of the chapter, we will talk about drug and alcohol abuse, and we will relate that particular thing with adolescence, how children of your age are more prone to fall victim to drug and alcohol abuse. All right, so that's the overall view of our chapter, that is Human Health and Diseases. So how would you define health? What is health? Health is defined as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. I think you must have read about this particular definition of health in your previous classes in some other subject. What it basically means is, in order to be called a healthy person, a person must be physically, mentally, and socially sound. Okay, so health does not necessarily mean mere absence of disease. You can be physically fit, but if you are mentally really stressed, agitated, or angry all the time, then you are not a healthy person. You are not a healthy person, right? So if you also are not fit, if you are not a contributing member of the society. So human beings are social animals, right? So we have to depend upon each other. So in order to be called a healthy person of the society, you have to be a contributing member of the society. You should not harm the society. You should not be called a criminal or a terrorist. No, so those criminals and terrorists, they are not healthy people, right? So health, to be called healthy, you have to be physically, mentally, and socially sound. Our health is affected by various factors, right? So factors that affect our health are genetic disorders, infections, lifestyle, and your mind and mental state, right? So our health is affected by genetic disorders. So we have studied about genetic disorders, right? Those disorders which are being passed down from parent to offspring. So those are genetic disorders. So genetic disorders like phenylketonuria, hemophilia, sickle cell anemia. So those genetic disorders, they negatively affect a person's health, right? And then we have infections. Infections also negatively affect human health. So there are various kinds of organisms. We will be studying about that later on. So there are various kinds of organisms which interferes with the proper functioning of our body system, right? And that causes diseases. And diseases, they negatively affect human health. And then we have lifestyle. Your lifestyle will also determine your health. right? If you, let's say, if you lead a very sedentary lifestyle, you do not move around much, you don't exercise, right, and you eat junk food, you drink unsafe drinking water, right, and you do not wash your hands before and after eating food, right? So that kind of lifestyle will negatively affect your health. Whereas on the other hand, if you exercise properly, if you eat balanced diet, then you will have good health. And then we have mind and mental state, right? So you must have listened to His Holiness Dalai Lama's advices. He says that a person, his health can be negatively affected if your mental state is not in proper order, right? If you feel angry all the time, if you feel angry, what happens? Your immune system's strength, it decreases. That makes you prone to various kinds of infections. So it directly affects your health. Your mental state directly affects your health. And not just that, if you are angry, you are agitated, you are stressed, that means it will release various kinds of hormones, stress hormones, and stress hormones are also bad for your health. Okay, so you have all these factors which affect our health. What are the things that you should do for good health? So for good health, first of all, you should take a balanced diet. Balanced diet means eating of food which contains correct proportions of carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, and minerals, right? So your body requires all those components of your food for it to function properly. So eating of a balanced diet is important for good health. And then we have personal hygiene. Proper personal hygiene is very important for good health. In this time of corona pandemic, you must have realized how important it is for you to have proper hand hygiene. You have to now wash your hands regularly for 20 seconds, right? And then you have to wash your hands in a proper manner. You must have been instructed by your doctor or your school nurse about proper hand washing technique, right? So that is a part of your personal hygiene. Brushing of your teeth is also a part of your personal hygiene. Taking bath is also a part of your personal hygiene. So personal hygiene or proper personal hygiene is also very important for good health. Regular exercise. Regular exercise is also good for health, right? If you regularly exercise, if you do physical exercise, it will keep you physically fit. And yoga is one such physical exercise which is said to be good for both physical as well as mental health. You can do meditation for as an exercise for your mind, right? So that is regular exercise, which is good for health. And then we have awareness about diseases and their effects. Here we can see the importance of education. If you are properly educated about diseases and their effects, then you will take proper preventive measures, right? And when you suffer from those diseases, you will know what measures to take, like visiting doctors, going to pharmacy to take medicines and all those things, right? So awareness about diseases and their effects is also important for good health. And then we have vaccinations, right? We take vaccinations or immunizations to prevent ourselves from getting future infections, right? That is very important for good health. You must know that you must have known that smallpox, it has been eradicated from the world. That particular deadly disease has been eradicated from the world due to vaccination, right? In many countries, polio has been eradicated through vaccinations, right? And there are many people who do not believe in vaccination, who oppose vaccination, saying that vaccination causes autism, right? So those are unsubstantiated. Those are not scientifically proven, right? So it is important for you to take vaccinations for good health, right? To prevent yourself from future infection. And then we should do proper waste disposal, right? So proper waste disposal is also important for good health. And vector control. Vectors are those organisms, right, like mosquitoes and flies, which carries disease-causing organisms, and they spread those disease-causing organisms to the human population. So they are called as vectors, right? So vector control is also important for good health. And then finally, we have maintenance of hygienic food and water. It simply means eating clean food and drinking clean water, safe drinking water, right? So these are the things which are important for good health. Okay, so we have seen the definition of health and who is called a healthy person. Right? Now, when do we say we are not healthy? Or when do we say that we have disease? Right? So, when the functioning of one or more organs or systems of the body is adversely affected, characterized by various signs and symptoms, we say that we are not healthy. That is, we have a disease, right? So disease is something, right, which interferes with the functioning of our body system in a proper manner. So that is called as a disease, right? So disease or diseases are of two types, right? It can be categorized into two types: infectious and non-infectious. So infectious diseases are those diseases which are easily transmitted from one person to the another, right? It can spread. So that is infectious disease. Example, we have AIDS. And then non-infectious diseases are those diseases which are not transmissible, which cannot be transferred from one person to the another. So that is non-infectious disease. Example, we have cancer. Okay, so that is about diseases. Right, now we will talk about infectious disease and their causes. And one of the major causes is pathogens. So pathogens are those organisms which can cause diseases in man, right? And most of the parasites are called as pathogens. Not all parasites are pathogens, right? Not all parasites can cause disease, right? There are some parasites which can cause disease, and there are some parasites which do not cause disease, right? So pathogens are the organisms which causes disease, and they belong to any of the following groups. We have bacteria, viruses, fungi, protozoans, and helminths. Diseases like typhoid and pneumonia are caused by certain types of bacteria. AIDS, right, and common cold, they are caused by types of viruses. Ringworms, they are caused by fungi. Malaria, amoebiasis, these diseases are caused by species of protozoans. Ascariasis, elephantiasis, these are caused by a species of helminths, right? So pathogens can belong to any of the following groups. And then these pathogens, they have got specific modes of infection, the way they are transmitted from one person to the another, right? So they have specific modes of infection, they have got specific pathogenesis, right? And they have their own specific mechanisms of replication or duplication within the body of the human. And they also have their specific responses that they can elicit from our body, right? So that is about the pathogens. Okay, then from the next video onwards, we will start discussing about some common human diseases, right? Starting with bacterial diseases such as typhoid fever and pneumonia. So I want you to read about these diseases and focus upon name of the pathogen, mode of infection, symptoms of the diseases, and you can think about some control measures of those diseases. Right? So please read your textbook before you watch the next video. Thank you.